Hey everybody, this is Brad with Mitchell Timepieces. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the history behind the watch and then the watch itself. We'll do a brief history lesson of the watch and what it represents, and then we'll talk about the details. On April the 18th, 1942, the Doolittle raids took place. There's a number of interesting facts about this mission. The first being that we're launching a medium-sized bomber off of an aircraft carrier. Second of all, there were no fighter escorts for those bombers to protect them as they go deep into Japan and bomb Tokyo. To complicate those matters, this mission was launched sooner than it was expected, so they were farther out. So there were serious concerns of running out of fuel, ditching in the ocean, and things like that. So General Doolittle, at the time, he was lieutenant colonel, and 16 B-25s, along with 80 crew, took off these aircraft carriers. Navy guys are standing by, thinking that these planes are just going to drop right into the ocean. There's no way they're going to be able to take off. Well, they all took off, successfully bombed Tokyo, and all but one safely landed in what I would call friendly China. The why I'm saying friendly China is because at the time, some areas of China were being occupied by the Japanese. So we landed all but that one plane in China. 77 crew survived. And at the end of that mission, I'm not clear exactly on the history of it, but it says the next day, Lieutenant Colonel Doolittle was promoted to Brigadier General. I don't know if that was after he returned exactly. I haven't found the details of that, but anyway. So we got a brief history lesson of what took place there. So let's talk about how that relates to the watch. So that star right above Mitchell is the representative of Brigadier General, a one-star general after the mission. The next thing you'll look at is the case is a 42 millimeter case. 1942, had a little bit of luck there because I love 42 millimeter watches personally. Now let's move to the Caseback. We have a B-25 Mitchell silhouette in the middle of the compass, facing heading 25, 250 or 25. Very symbolic of the B-25, right? Not only that, the design of that compass would be similar to what you'd see in one of the several versions of the B-25 Mitchell plane itself. We have a nice coin edge bezel. It's very thick. It's kind of fat. Some people would refer to it as a corn tooth bezel. Never heard of that before, but someone had mentioned that to me. We have these nice cathedral hands. And you can actually find that in some of the earlier World War II pocket watches from Waltham. I think they were actually for the Ordnance Department. We have these vintage style fonts, one for the Raider, one for Mitchell. The Mitchell logo we've been using for a while. The Raider is the same font we used for the Hercules. Okay, now let's look at the case. This case is designed after an Elgin A11. What did I do different? Obviously, the Mitchell timepiece is a 42 millimeter, where that Elgin is a 32. So that's one thing. We did make a nice square, fat crown, but not too big. I call it a medium crown, as it won't dig into your wrist, as a lot of you'll see the reviewers are saying. The lugs on the Elgin were pretty petite, so when designing these, I wanted to fatten them up, kind of like a Rolex lug, a Rolex sports lug. Not that that's what I was going for, but it was the best descriptor, a nice fat square lug to fill out that 42 millimeter. On the strap, we used a nice military style canvas in a 22 millimeter lug width, and it's a straight strap with a Horween leather backing. Crown just has a simple MT logo. I've never put a lot of value in creating a logo for the brand per se, but I kind of liked how that MT went together. It's somewhat retro. Last thing I want to point out is that domed sapphire that's a real challenge to photograph. Why the domed sapphire? Because the Elgin A11 used a plastic crystal and it was pretty well domed. And I think that hits everything on this watch that means something, represents part of history. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.